Hi guys, brought myself one of these Ozito cordless outdoor spray gun. Beautiful. The great thing about them, you don't need a compressor, and they're run by a battery, lithium battery, and which can be used also with all the other type of power tools that household domestic stuff. So anyway, we'll get on with it. This is the first time using it. So spraying the doors and door jambs in the right place with ultimate enamel tool booms. What is it? So it's a smooth finish, mold resistant, fast drying, low odour, which is very important when you're still living in the property. You don't want to get sick. Now, so we're going to go, there's all different type of ratios. You can go 10-20% on thinning, depending application. So low sheen is 10-20%, semi-gloss is 45-50%, so that's probably what we're going to go with. And we've got a gloss finish is up to 90%. I don't want to sort of go too shiny, because too much weight I put on lately, I might get a reflection. Alright, so the best thing to do if you're not really sure, they give you one of these cups as a viscosity. So basically you mix your thinner or your water-based water, and that gives us the thickness of viscosity for your gun to spray adequately for the type of application you're spraying. So this is actually saying, I'll go back to it, 45-50%, but we're going to check that because the gun does give you specs, what it should be as well, because different size needles and tips of your spray gun determine how it actually applies onto your whatever you're spraying. So, okay, so I think it's up to 50 seconds. Something I read something before. Okay. Mixing material. So it's a 1 litre pot, viscosity says 50 dm, yes. Okay. I'm just going to double check that on what the product we're using. Can you stop for a second? Yeah. Alright guys, back into it. So it's a quick short break. I'm going to get a couple of cups and a stirring stick. I'll sort of rub it off. Okay, so going back to the viscosity. Just to give you an indication how it is, how it works, it measures the thickness of the paint, and these guys are fantastic for giving you a viscosity seconds per minute. Roughly it's 50 seconds for this amount of paint that needs to be into a pot. So basically we'll make a mix of the paint and a bit of water together. We're going to work on roughly 50%. You can always stick them in if you get some out of the tin, if it's too thin or too thick. So basically we've got to get a stopwatch. We're going to pour the paint into the viscosity cup and measure the amount of seconds until this is completely empty, and that's going to give you the right amount of thickness for the gun to work correctly. To get a great finish. So that is probably the best way to measure if you sort of don't have much experience painting or spraying, to give you some sort of a guide. Alright, so basically this is going back to the product here, paint. It's always important to give it a good stir because the paint pigment is always at the bottom, as everyone probably is aware of. Basically that's what we're going to do. Stir. It's like making a cake and you can't eat it. Alright. Okay, so we'll grab some product out of here. do I collect paint with the stick without making a mess. Been an automated spray painter for 24 years. I've got a few tricks, but I can't show you in one day. It's taken 24 years to learn them all. So, okay. A bit messy. I've been busy painting the house, bits and bobs all day long. So I thought I'll do this to help out my old mate. He's doing a bit of painting at home. Okay, so that's the product there. So we're going to go roughly, because we're going to go to a semi-gloss to a gloss finish. So they recommend, these guys, 40 to 50%. So all the information data is basically on the back of the tin for what application and what you're trying to achieve. So be mindful to always sort of read instructions. Alright, so I'll just get a bit of water because this is water-based enamel. Get the water out of the tap here. I've got these cups, they've got a measuring system on it. So to give me a guide, but you can use anything, whatever you've got laying around at home, once it's clean, it's not contaminated. Because in the painting world, anything that's, if you're not having clean surfaces or contamination or things floating in the air or you're spraying, it can cause a lot of problems for your end result. So it's all about chemistry. Okay, so you can got this there. Alright, so I've got myself another cocktail cup. So we're going to get the stopwatch on my phone and we're going to time it. So we're basically going to do 50. So I'm going to have to put my hand on the bottom of the tin. So us males don't really know how to multitask too quick. Alright, so we're basically going to press start and let this run. And at the moment we're at 7, 8, so it's actually a little bit thin. Alright, so we're at 16 seconds. Okay, so we're going to need to add some more product and thicken it up a little bit. Right, so stop that. Alright, so viscosity can actually change with your weather conditions as well. So on a hot day, you'll probably find it'll evaporate the water out of the paint. So the temperature plays a major part on how viscosity works. That's why it's always important to viscosity the paint. Alright, we just have to get another cup anyway. When you're actually doing this, you've got to make sure that you're making the right amount enough mix for the whole job. So I know roughly this is going to be more than enough to achieve what I need to do today. At that point, doing it all, and then you run out of product and you have to do it all over again. So it's always important, look at the job, estimate surface area. Sometimes it's a bit tricky if you haven't done it before, but work on the best way to look at a job and say, okay, each part's going to be 100 mils for that or 200 mils for that, each part I'm spraying, and cover that all together and then make the correct mix so you don't have to keep redoing this. Alright, so get that stirred, check. way you can also check if you can be thicker. Those runs off the stick. Faster it runs, the thinner it is. As you get better at it, you can sort of pick up on that. Sort of, anyway, let's start again. So start. So we're basically at 38. So I didn't have the finger on the bottom, but I knew we might do it again. So we're nearly there. So one more go, and I think we'll get it right. Okay. It's a bit of a process. It's not just in the painting world, it's all about preparation. It's all about having everything right to get the best result at the end. Again. Make sure that's mixed in well, so otherwise what happens, the thinner stuff always flows to the top, the heavy stuff's on the bottom, so if you don't, you get a false reading if you don't actually give it a proper stir. Alright, finger down the bottom, get a reset. Another pair of hands would be fantastic for that anyway. Okay. Reset it again here. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Basically at 45. I'm happy with that. They recommend 50. I'm going to have a little bit thinner because I'm going to use this as a final finish. Maybe last coat. So I've prepped them all up prior to today. Alright, so I'm going to just clean up. Basically this product needs to go in here. If you have a strainer or a filter of some sort, if you don't, you can actually use if your wife's got a stocking, you can actually put that over your cup and strain your paint that way. That's another way if you don't have any paint filters. So I'm just going to quickly wash up, put the product in the gun, and I'll be back. Product's in the pot. Just went through the box and had a look at a few other little things in there. So basically this is your battery cover. So once your gun is back together for assemble for work, to start using it, you cover that for any solvents or whatever you're doing, cover the battery once it's all connected. Now be mindful, when you do buy these guns, they do not come with a battery or a charger. But as you can see, I'm a fan of the Ozito Red series. This is the second reno of the home I've done. And these tools have been really fantastic for home domestic. You can't go past value for money. 5-year warranty, like how good's that? You can't even buy a car these days, they give you 5-year warranty. Unless you spend the top dollar. Okay, so basically we're going to start piecing the gun together and we're going to give it a crack. So the beauty is, if it's not right, you can always rub it and paint it again. There's no, don't be scared to sort of give it a go. So, alright, so basically we're going to, two ways. This sort of is a twist and locking setup, and you'll see over here, once I've got it in, you can get it in right. So you twist it on, and you'll see this needle this is your trigger, obviously, and this is your fluid adjustment. How far the comes down is how much fluid comes out of the gun. So that's your trigger. Okay, so and these tips are basically, you can remove the tips or unscrewing it, and you can also adjust your fan to left to right, vertical or horizontal, depending on what you're doing. So with these type of setup gun, if the pop down the bottom, you can't paint it like that because the product will run all the way to the bottom and you won't get any paint coming out like spraying. So it's always important to paint the right way, and also paint a fair distance. They recommend 20 centimeters, but it also depends on how fast you move, how slow you move, how close you are, and that comes down to practice. So the more things you get to paint, the better you get at it. It's like anything in life. So we're going to screw this on. Okay, it's locked in. So without the heart, you can't get it going. So we're going to get the battery out. Basically, lock that in. You'll hear it click. Oop, sorry, that was my fault. Okay, you do have a locking off and on here. So basically, you'll see it's got a key lock sign. Okay, I'll be back in a minute. I'm just going to go get my ladder and everything ready. Okay, we are here at the job site, so only a couple of feet away from where I was before. Okay, so basically this little tab lever, when you flick it from side to side, that is your fan. So fan is basically how wide your spray pattern will be. So you can have it to a point, which will be a straight, well, it's not completely to a point, but less fan opening. So there's two settings. So it's basically, if you're doing something, you want to get a wide coverage, you go for the wider. If you're doing something with only a little slim fit, you can actually just go with that first setting. So, which is good to have. So depending on what you're doing, the gun can do anything what you need it to do. All right, so we're going to do a little test. So the trigger is there. You got to make sure this is in lock position because you don't want the pot to fall off and make a mess. Okay, so basically, there it goes. When spraying, it's very important to overlap. Basically, that's one line, 2 lines. So your overlap should be right underneath it, like that. That's the correct way for overlap. Alright, so we're basically going to start up here, keep the gun in a straight position, and beauty of this gun is, you probably can't see there, but because I haven't got all the lights working in the house. So the beauty of this gun is quite comfortable, light, and it's cordless. That's the beauty of it. There's no need for a compressor or air lines or anything like that. And also, being an airless gun, the overspray is very minimal, as you can see. It's only to there. That's why I've only masked one sheet back. So, basically saving a lot of time and effort, and you'll get that professional finish. And people think you paid, you know, a high-end painter to come and paint your house and do it yourself. So we're just going to give it one coat. You'll see that it's not covered in areas, but the first coat is just tack coat. So you don't want to get any runs or anything like that. So your first coat, basically give it a nice coat all over the whole lot, and then 2 to 3 coats, you're done. So enjoy, happy spraying with an Ozito, the big red I call it. Cheers. Hi guys, this is the result of my final coat, as I was saying before, and I'm quite happy with it. I'm sure I'll be able to see in the camera, it's just a better result than actually brushing. Especially with door jams, can be quite difficult to get a nice even pattern. So yeah, so it's endless on to the superior of the finish you want to go to. So you know, if you want to go that showroom finish, you can just give it a light scuff and hit it again with that spray gun. So yeah, enjoy. Well done.